Oh boy, the man, the myth, the legend himself. The one and only. So, Ito, I'm gonna be honest, if Goro was not helping him, his damage would just shoot down.
I do agree where these two are a duo and they kind of need to be together.
Yeah.
But that's not really like taking away. Well, I guess if you don't have Goro,
Yeah. The thing
Where-
is that if you don't have Goro, there's no realistic, like, real good support for Ito. Because the only real support you can run is, like, Bennett. Because Bennett is just a straight attack buff. But because you can't run other elements, because Geo does nothing with other elements.
it's kind of dumb that crystallization just does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because most Geo characters generate their own shields.
And the fact that, and the thing is that if you have Goro, Albedo, Zhongli, and Ito, if you have Mono Geo, this team will do wonders for you if all four of them are built.
I agree that he does have a strict team building requirement, but I think that's the same as Zhao, so I don't think that should fault him too much for it. And the thing about it is, personality is really funny.
Oh, his
I
personality.
think he oversteps his bound, at least for me, like during the Chasm quest, a little bit, where he was a little too
forceful,
mean to other people, especially like Yelan. I felt that he was really funny at like the thug, but honestly a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's like, I am me, but I'm not a bad guy.
I would say like A or B.
I can go with A, because
Yeah.
I honestly think his personality kind of pushes him up. He's funny. The way he interacts with other characters is funny. Especially like Kujo Sara. That's like the only thing good about Kujo Sara is her interaction with Ito.
Yep.
And that's more of a thing for Ito than
And
anything.
Kujo Sara. Alright. So A for Ito, I agree on that. Goro.
Good Boy Goro, I really like his personality. So
But his kit supports two characters. That's it.
it honestly does.
So I would say like C or D.
I agree with that. I think because of his personality
We'll
being
bump it up to C.
C.
But because his kit is so like character specific, it has locked him down here.
I mean, he is the definitive Geo support. Like,
Oh yeah, he is.
he makes Ito and Albedo hit like a gosh dang truck, even more than they hit like a gosh dang truck. And that's impressive. The problem is you have to grind for the same three set
over and over again. But all in all, they just work so well together. Especially if Goro is C6. If Goro is C6, oh man, they will hit hard.
Yeah. And I love his interactions with Kokomi. I love his interactions with Miko, wherever
Miko
she is,
right there.
And then I love just that he wants to do the best he can, even though he is not the best at what he does.
Yeah, that's why Goro's one of my favorites.
Where he's like, you're asking me for help or asking for advice, I'll do my best. And this is what I get. And that's why he's the Miss Hina.
That's why he is secretly Miss Hina.
And I think the whole Miss Hina thing is pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
Like, he's got a lot of meme value, but also you do feel for him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like there is an unrequited love for Kokomi.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's really cool that there's actually a like deep bonded relationship between characters that you don't normally see.
Mm-hmm. So all in all, Goro, good boy Goro.
Yep.
Would be higher if his kit was just not so element locked.
Yeah,
Speaking of element locked,
I think
Shenhe is like in the same boat.
same boat, except for I don't care for her personality as much.
Her personality's okay.
I feel like she has more versatility for helping other people other than Cryo, but really she only really supports Cryo.
She is really a cryo support. So that's really her biggest problem.
I think her personality is just kind of bland, but I know it's by design.
But they explain the reason why it's bland, which I'm perfectly okay with.
Yeah, I think she's fine. So do we want to put it in Good Boy Goro category, or
Let's just put it at least in Good Boy Goro category, because they're basically the same, It's just the fact that they just only support one element.
Now, the next person on the list says gives the
okay, so her kit is decent. The fact that she improves normal attack damage and she has a counter, quote unquote.
Well, the thing about it is her counter is not as good as Beidu's because it doesn't scale off of.
But it at least is.
But it is actually better in certain scenarios when you're fighting smaller enemies because it always scales to her def.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good baseline, but it doesn't fluctuate as much as Beidu's does,
mm-hmm.
which is both a good and a bad thing. But
yeah.
Her burst helps only 5-6 people.
Well, I mean, it didn't help. Yeah, it's only really 5 to 6 people.
It's like Ayato, Diluc, it helps. You could do it for no. You don't really want to do that for.
Not Hutel. In Ball, you can run it for, but the problem is you need 2 electric with Ball, so again, not really.
Not really worth it.
Yeah.
Tartaglia works.
Yoimiya is probably the best.
Yeah, Yoimiya is the best support partner for it. Except, well, I mean, they both do the exact same job.
Well, we'll talk about her in a second.
But
all in all, her kit is very simple. Even though it only helps a couple characters, it's still simple, but yet it's still quite effective.
The problem is her passive team locks.
Yeah,
if you want her full def buff,
you need to have different elements.
And the problem is you lose out on resonance that way.
Yeah.
And sometimes resonance are really good for your team comp.
Uh-huh.
She does her job really well, but...
I would say C or B.
I could say C.
Yeah.
Where... her personality really doesn't do it for me. I do really love the opera singing, but just the outside of the singing part is just kind of blah for me.
I personally have no problem with her. I actually kind of like her in all honesty. But all in all, I understand the kit thing is kind of just...
It kind of makes it so she can't run with Mono Geo Team. She can't run with Goro.
Yeah,
even though she scales with Def like all the other... Geo Def character.
She just can't run another Geo if you don't want her maximum Geo buff.
Yeah.
So all in all, see, I agree.
Miko.
I have mixed things about Miko.
Personally, I feel she is just a worse version of Fischl. So Constellation 5 and less Fischl, Miko is better.
But if Fischl is C6,
you run Fischl because Miko just does not compare at all.
The thing that upsets me about Miko is that Miko's thing is E, Q, E, or elemental skill, burst, elemental skill, to pop out all of her turrets at once. I really wish someone pointed this out. There was just a hold button that just dispersed all 3 of them at once. To just save you time.
Or like Ayato's, where if you hold it, if you hold it and move it, you can actually do the triangle thing while just holding it. Where Ayato's is literally you hold it and he just keeps doing the slashes as long as you don't get interrupted.
But we're talking about Miko right now.
Where I feel that, well, she got buffed, which was apparently a nerf, where they undid it too. So there's definitely problems with her kit, and especially her targeting.
Well, also the fact that she has a scaling with elemental mastery for a slight bit, which
But she also scales with something else as well. I forgot what.
And I'm sorry, Keys. You were trying to convince me that she's a damage dealer, and I'm like, no, she is a sub damage dealer.
She is literally a support for Ball without being a dedicated Electro support.
Yeah. So all in all, I'd say B or C. She's not horrible. She's not unplayable.
I feel that her gameplay, to me, it just is not does not match these 3 at all.
Yeah, because
these 2 at all.
Well, those 2
Beidu and Fischl just do so well. Mm-hmm. Where if you don't have C6 Fischl, run Beidu, and if you don't have Beidu, or if you have C6 Fischl, Fischl just does great. And if you've got Ball, use Ball. There's no question.
Yeah, if you have Ball or A, use them because literally, why aren't you using them? They're in your roster.
Yeah, she just does every Electro applicator's job better, and then is a swap-on damage dealer. on top of that.
Well, anyways, so
But
Mika, I would agree with C.
her personality is kind of like the manipulative, like, oh, you should have used these words, or I'm like, I not really my cup of tea for personality wise either.
Yeah, I would argue to be, but I would agree with you on C.
Yeah.
Okay, Ayato. So I love Ayato's personality. I love his gameplay. I love his gimmick. The problem is that there are just far and few between support characters for him.
So I think since Dendro came out, he has gotten a crazy buff for that support. Because Dendro and then having like Shinobu or even like Dory or even like Fischl to help support, that just makes a beautiful team comp for him. Because even like Traveler, like any Dendro character.
Traveler is amazing. Sorry, I just want to say Dendro Traveler is awesome.
Yeah.
I fully invest in Dendro Traveler and he is amazing. But anyways, continue.
But basically the support Dendro characters plus Ayato just works super well because the Bloom is just a great effect. And then adding an additional Electro character, I honestly think Shinobu is the best for that position because just AoE just is good, really good. But if you just had like Beidou or something, or even like Fischl or Ball, all of those, or even Miko, I think would work.
Miko would work too.
But like just
any
having those
Electro
three
sub damage dealer,
yes,
would work with that.
So I think he gained a lot of utility with that in team support. He also works with Venti, which he's one of the few melee characters who does.
Yeah, that's true. All in all, I'd say either A or B.
I can agree with A tier. Because the thing about it is he's not the best at damage. And the problem is his rotations are short, which allows you to do other characters' part of their rotation, but it's a struggle when you're waiting on him to recover. Yeah. Where it's basically just a shorter version of Tartaglia's wait time. Uh-huh. I feel like they should be in the same like category because they kind of are niche versions of the same like job. Mm-hmm. And I feel like they do their job pretty well.
Basically, 5-star Waterboy. I've seen Kizuna play this character. She seems really good for a water, like, hydro applicator and a hydro damage dealer, or sub-damage dealer, excuse me. She seems fine. But the entire time I'm watching her gameplay, I'm like, I could just use Xingqiu. I could just use Xingqiu. I could just use Xingqiu.
Unless you needed Xingqiu on both sides of the abyss, you really don't need it.
Like, when I looked at it, I'm like,
And most of the time, you don't need more copies of Xingqiu. And Xingqiu just does a good job in general.
The thing is that Yelan does damage. I've seen her deal damage.
So, yeah, she does good.
She does damage, so I put her at B. Like, she does her job. She will do her job.
And her personality being a mercenary, working with Ningguang, doing, like, different odd jobs. I think that's cool. She has, like, no relevancy to the story at all.
She's literally only part of the chasm, really. But
the chasm quest.
Yeah. All in all, it's okay.
Yeah, I think she does have a niche, but I honestly think there's...
Just use Xingqiu.
Just use Xingqiu.
Literally, he's easier to get.
But if you got her and
you invest in her, then use her.
Yeah.
There's no exception.
She will exceed Waterboy, but there's no point in getting her because you have Waterboy. And he does good for gameplay-wise.
Yeah.
So, Shinobu.
You probably have more things to say about Shinobu than I do.
There is a slight problem with Shinobu. Is that you don't heal crazy fast, and you don't have a panic button. So she is she's one of the worst, like, actual healers. So not like, I'm brain farting. Sayu and,
Diona.
Well, I was going,
Dory.
Dory. Where these two, I feel that she is a league above them, but below all the other healers, really. For healing purposes. But her electro application on field is great. Off field healing, so if you running like Zhao, it really is nice. Especially at C4 where you can get that extra like thunder strike. just for electro application, which is just free damage. Ayato really works well with her because it covers the healer category and the electro applicator that you need. So if your team needs a good electro applicator and you don't have room, and you still need a healer, she just does what you need her to do. She fits a last position well, or the last slot well. But I do think that she only fits in certain team comps because Pyro characters don't really use her, and unless you have Hydro, Dendro is not really necessary because it's harder to time the skill correctly, so you deal more Dendro damage. But that's my kind of synopsis of her. But I think she does really good for healing. I run her with Bubble Pop.
Okay, so here's my problem with her.
Okay.
So the thing is that she was perfectly fine. The problem is when I ran her with other characters, she kept dying.
That is a big problem.
Because if I time her skill wrong, and one guy just goes, she dies, and I just lost my healer. Because she is a healer that needs to play at low HP.
That is...
And if I can't have her at low HP because I need her to not get one-shotted, or I can't ever stand next to fire because electric, dang it.
Yeah, you're right.
These are the problems with Shinobu that I have been running into running her with the characters that I've been running for friendship. That is the problem I've had with Shinobu, that she kept dying and the fact that I have to play her at low HP. I had to keep her at high HP, so when I pop her skill, I let her sit there for a second just to gain some HP back.
I mean, at C6 that fixes it because she's got a miracle recovery like Hu-Tao. If she's lower than half HP, which typically that's when you're going to die. I do agree that is a major thing that I do run into as well. If I'm running her with Zhao, then I've got Zhongli.
The thing is with her, I need to have a shielder with her. Like that, I need to have a shielder with my healer.
Or you need to time your swap off to her.
I have to think about my time offs to where if she can be on the field or if she can't be off the field.
Yeah. However, there is one cool thing about her. She has no cooldown time for her skill. It is always active.
Oh yeah, you can always turn hers on. I will admit that's the one.
Where Barbara, every other like field healer, you have a small window of downtime. Where Shinobu's is never on downtime. I mean, the only downtime is when you can't swap onto her because she's going to die because you're going to get hit. Or potentially going to get hit. But I feel like she has a interesting versatility. And for that, I think at least B.
I was going to put her at C. The reason is because she is good at healing one target.
That too, is that...
One target. Multiple targets? No. One target? She's good at healing.
So the thing about it is she is a kind of a mixed bag of like the jack of all trades, where sub damage dealing is done, electro application is done, and then healing is done, but not to the greatest extent. There are better people in all of those categories, but she fills those categories all in one spot. So you can open up for more characters to work with your team. And that's kind of why I honestly would like to have her in B, because I find a lot of versatility in her. And I was actually begging for an electric healer that was good for a while, because I could really utilize that in my team comps. Even though, yes, she does have a lot of flaws with doing that. What are you saying?
I'll agree to you on B. I have my own quips with Kuki Shinobu, but I'll agree with you on B at least.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, this one's all yours. I've yet to play him at all.
Heizo, we'll just do this quick, put him in B. The reason Heizo is B is because Heizo is basically a version of Razor, but he's late game. Basically, he is a character that if you want to punch people, pick Heizo. Like, he'll punch people, and his skill does decent, but the problem is you have to invest so much in him that he does damage. But his burst is 40, and it's a CC somewhat. But all in all, he's okay. He's not the greatest.
He's basically an animo version of Razor, where they cover the same like early game damage that you can do.
Yeah, but the thing is that Heizo didn't come out until way later,
which just kind of sucks.
Then he's just okay. Like, you use him if you just want to like feel special and kick people or punch people. Like, that's the main reason you use Heizo. Which
you punch Scaramouche in the face.
Exactly, that's what I did. But all in all, I still think he's a viable character. His personality is pretty funny. He's kind of sassy, and basically there was one part where he was talking to a criminal. He's like, so if you help me, I'll lift some of your community service, and I'll make it, say, 4 hours of community service. And she's like, is that all you can do? Oh, I'm sorry. 3 hours. She's like, wait, you just went down. He's like, oh, was that helpful? Sorry. 2 hours. She's like, okay, stop. I'll just do the 2 then. He's like, good on you. So
he's got some comedic value to him.
He has some comedic value, but all in all, B, he's not good, but he's not bad either. So, okay. This character, literally personality, just skyrockets him for me. There's one line that he was talking, like, there's one line about the academia that, because he was like, well, technically this part is illegal, but like, what is the academia going to do? Lock me up? I dare them. Let's see how many patients come in when they do lock me up.
I did love that I did love his story quest when I did
his story quest was
at first I was just like, okay, he's pretty funny, but I'm like, he's just kind of okay. And then after doing his story quest, I'm just like, okay, and now I see why Joker just loves the heck out of this
He
guy.
is so funny. The only thing that just shoots him down is just his gameplay. His gameplay is a standard 5-star.
It's a worse version of Ganyu's.
It is a worse version of Ganyu's.
But it is a standard 5-star, so you
can't really be mad. You get what you got to where it's a standard 5-star.
And it is nice that they did add him to the standard 5 stars, because it was getting oversaturated where I know a lot of players were getting just nonstop like Chi-Chis and like Jeans, Deluxe, Mona's, and I feel like he's a nice change of pace.
Add to the pity pool to where people might not be as upset when they get him.
That, and we finally have another 5-star pity male character.
That we do.
And I think that just adds a lot.
So the thing that's mostly shooting him up is just his personality.
I honestly agree.
Because his gameplay just shoots it down to like...
And Confuse is kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Where it's a good way to like CC, but without like grouping. Where you can get space between you and your opponent. And I feel that archers struggle to do that, except for Tartaglia.
But all in all, I'd agree with A or B. Either one would work for him.
Kale.
This was the first Dendro character I ever got, and I thought she was amazing. Until Traveler became like C. Ford. Then she got shot down.
In all honesty, she's not a bad Dendro applicator.
She's not.
The problem is she is shut down by Traveler and Nahito.
Literally, Nahito and Traveler just immediately just replaced her. Just like that. But she's not bad.
But yeah, she's still like versatile and like usable in certain scenarios.
Like, and her personality, I kind of like it. It's cute, but it's
not really mine, but also not like bad at all. So yeah. I would say so at least like C.
C? Yeah, I agree with C.
I know you love Dory's personality.
Dory's just funny. That's the main thing. And okay, and I'll talk about her gameplay because I 70'd her. Her gameplay, so the thing is that I ran her with the bell. And the thing is that running the bell, I was just like, her healing is alright so far, but my main thing is that I was kind of a little bit struggling to get her ult. And her ult is basically her whole gimmick.
I just ran her with Sacrificial.
No, I literally put Sacrificial on her, and that fixed her problem. To where literally her ult is always on. To where
you just gun and then gun again and then swap off.
And literally just pop her ult. And literally, so I run her with, what is it? Like either Ayato or Ayaka or Dilu. Basically one of my damage dealers to kind of see how fast. Literally there is almost never a moment where their ult is off. Their ult is almost always on. Whenever they are connected to the genie by her. So I think she is very good if you build her properly. But I could see her problems at the fact that if you don't have Sacrificial or you're not building her for ER along with HP, she is garbage.
She is a little more investment required in order to make her viable, but I still think she has good tools to her. Better than like
she's better than Sayu. I will definitely say that with a fact.
Where they're kind of similar in their burst style, but I feel like you get more out of
Dory than you do Sayu.
So I think at least
C.
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 Yeah.
I could argue to B, but I'll agree with you on C.
I honestly am not super keen on her personality, but I know you find her super funny.
She's
so
just funny.
I'll defer to you on that one.
Okay, we'll go to C.